Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Now today, I'd like to take the time to discuss Tekken X Street Fighter, and more to the point, what it would take for Namco to make their half the crossover rivalry a reality. But before that, most subscribers are already aware of this, but for anyone that's new, we have both weekly and monthly giveaways. Stay until the end of the video for details on that. Now, on to the topic of the day. Back in 2012, you know, the ancient times of video games? Well, of course not really, but you guys get the idea. Street Fighter X Tekken was released. This was Capcom's take on the dream match of two of the fighting genre's more premier franchises. This game was released on almost every major platform at the time, and unfortunately, with not so great success. That is if we want to go by what Capcom was telling us, because according to them, the sale numbers show that the game clearly underperformed. And you know, because of both brands' brand name, it's really hard to fathom. Two genre pillars coming together and collectively selling that poor? That was an oddity in itself. And according to Katsuro Harada, that sure enough didn't boost any confidence on the Namco side of this dream rivalry coming to life. But even with that, there are some devout fans in the fighting game community holding out hope that one day, Namco can finish their end of the bargain and complete Tekken X Street Fighter. Let's talk about some of the factors that can make Tekken X Street Fighter a reality. First, let's start with the fighting game genre uptick. One thing that can really make Namco Bandai consider a hard push to complete the game will be the current revival of the fighting genre. Just take a look at Street Fighter 6. SF6 just came out and is being praised across the board in both sales and general consensus, and the numbers are definitely backing that up. And how about the Mortal Kombat reboot? MK1 isn't out yet, but with every new character trailer that's been shown, the anticipation for the release continues to grow. It also helps that beta created a lot of buzz for it. Then there's the updated version of Grand Prix Fantasy Versus, also due out this year. And just like Mortal Kombat, that too had a beta. And also just like Mortal Kombat, that beta created a lot of good buzz. Next you have the return of the Fatal Fury franchise, with Fatal Fury City of Wolves showing their teaser trailer. And finally, you have Namco Bandai's own Tekken 8 coming out later this year, which is also getting plenty of love around the fighting game community. So when you take into account all this surge of fighting game popularity, it may be a good time to at the very least consider working on Tekken X Street Fighter again. Next, let's talk about how sales can play a factor. Now of course, this should probably go without saying, but the sales of Tekken 8 could potentially dictate if Tekken X Street Fighter gets a chance. And if we're honest, sales of the current fighting game genre as a whole might dictate it even more. Now initially, that might sound good, but this can be a double-edged sword. On one hand, you want the fighting game market to thrive, and all parties to get a piece of that. And personally, as consumers, all of us should actually collectively want that. But the flip side here is the potential cannibalization. Capcom themselves personally felt that Street Fighter X Tekken sold poorly, in part because of market saturation. And with the 5 games that we had mentioned earlier, Tekken X Street Fighter has a real possibility of being met with the same outcome. As we earlier stated, Namco Bandai did take notice of the sales for Street Fighter X Tekken, and they really didn't like what they saw. But we're also talking about a situation that happened over a decade ago. The nature of the market isn't the same as it was back in 2012. So with all things considered, it's not assured that the same negative outcome will perform in Namco's outing the way it did Capcom's. Then there's the potential power of fan outcry. If there's one thing that the fighting game community is above all else, it's vocal. Regardless of the franchise, regardless of how big or small for that matter that the player count is, fighting game communities are extremely passionate about their games. And make no mistake, they will let you hear about it if they feel things aren't on point. Go to any fighting game developer's social media and you'll see that for yourself firsthand. Ever since Capcom and Namco Bandai initially announced this project, both fan bases were clamoring for these games to release. In truth, some of that was tempered down after a while, at least from Capcom's side, because as we stated, the sales weren't very much up to par. And the whole controversy of making people pay extra for characters that were already found on the disc, yeah, that surely didn't help either. But with that said, the audience hadn't forgotten Tekken X Street Fighter. Although not as loud as it once was, there are still people holding out hope. And of course, it doesn't really help matters when Harada keeps telling people, and I quote, the progress has been at 30% for the past 10 years, and he's been unable to overcome that so far. Now he said that as recently as the San Diego Comic-Con in 2023, so maybe, just maybe, if the fans make enough noise, the game might get finished. And lastly, a Street Fighter X Tekken remake might make Namco reconsider and get serious about the Tekken X Street Fighter game. Okay, now we have to keep in mind, Street Fighter X Tekken came out over a decade ago at this point. And again, for a lot of gamers, that length of time is considered ancient history, like literally. And with a lot of gamers, it's really a matter of out of sight and out of mind. When constantly asked for games to be either remastered or remade, why not do the same for Street Fighter X Tekken? Bringing the 2012 game to the modern audience, I think would personally be a good way to gauge whether or not there's an appetite for the crossover series to continue. But we would have to assume that Capcom is willing to give it another shot. Now in the end, who can really say what we get Namco putting any real effort behind the project? In all honesty, teasers like what we saw at EVO 2023 do nothing but add fuel to the fire that, in all honesty, really didn't need it in the first place. Having Yoshinori Ono meet up with Harada on stage, that really didn't do anything but rile up the fans, for better or worse depending on who you ask. But what do you guys think would get Namco Bandai to give Tekken X Street Fighter another shot? Thank you for hanging with us to the end of the video. Now, I would like to take a moment to remind everyone that weekly we give away $10 PSN cards or Amazon cards. Now these cards are a random subscriber every week. Now we also give away a physical game at the end of every month to a random subscriber. To be eligible, all you have to do is subscribe and comment to our YouTube, website, or Twitch channels. Now at the moment, if you live outside the United States and you happen to win the monthly prize, we would have to send you the money for it instead. Now right now, we're looking to remedy that because I'm actually looking for an international vendor. Now if anyone has any questions, please leave a comment at our website or our YouTube. Thank you.